Good evening and welcome to the debate. I am Ritangshu Bhattacharya. You're watching Mirror Now. Now, while the language debate continues between the South and the North, specifically the BJP-ruled government in the center of in New Delhi and the Tamil Nadu government ruled by M.K. Stalin in the South, it has now gotten a filmy twist. Andhra Pradesh's Deputy Chief Mr. Pawan Kalyan has slammed the DMK's alleged anti-Hindi stance. He brought in the film industry saying that Tamil movies shouldn't be dubbed in Hindi if there is a debate around using Indian languages. Now, Pawan Kalyan says that no language should ever be opposed. Listen in.
మాట్లాడితే సంస్కృతాన్ని తిడతారు, హిందీని మీరు రుద్దుతున్నారు, సౌత్ దక్షిణాదిని అంటారు. అన్ని దేశ భాషలే కదా. మన తమిళనాడులో తమిళ్ హిందీ రాకూడదు అంటుంటే నాకు అనిపించింది మనసులో ఒకటే, అప్పుడు తమిళ సినిమాల్ని హిందీలోకి డబ్ చేయకండి. డబ్బులేమో హిందీ నుంచి కావాలి, ఉత్తరప్రదేశ్ నుంచి డబ్బులు కావాలి, బీహార్ నుంచి డబ్బులు కావాలి, ఛత్తీస్గఢ్ నుంచి డబ్బులు కావాలి, కానీ హిందీ మాకు వద్దంటే అదే న్యాయం. పనిచేసే వాళ్ళందరూ మనకి బీహార్ నుంచి రావాలి, కానీ హిందీని ద్వేషిస్తానంటే ఎట్లా? ఇవన్నీ మారాలి కదా. అందుకని భాషల్ని ద్వేషించాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు.
The DMK has responded to the Deputy Chief Minister's remarks, saying that they show a hollow understanding of the entire matter. The DMK has also clarified that they're not anti-Hindi, but against Hindi imposition. Listen.
This issue has been going on for quite some time. And the minute DMK raised this issue, Chandrababu Naidu ji has come on air and said, what's wrong in learning another language? It's good for the students, they can get opportunities. They are okay with English, but they have a problem with 22 native languages of India. So this is the deviant mentality, a slave mentality of the DMK leaders.
DMK सरकार कुछ नहीं किया, इस 4 साल में भ्रष्टाचार किया है, परिवार राज चलाया, माँ, पिताजी, बेटा, मुख्यमंत्री का सिस्टर, ये सभी लोग तमिलनाडु को लूटा है. तमिलनाडु में बोलने के लिए, तमिलनाडु जनता को समझाने के लिए कुछ नहीं है. इसीलिए इलेक्शन में नया एजेंडा आज हिंदी के नाम पर और पार्लियामेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी का रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन के नाम पर ये लोग आवाज उठा रहे. अभी तक सेंसस ही नहीं हुआ, सेंसस होना चाहिए. इसके बाद कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन करने के लिए कमेटी गठित होना चाहिए, उसमें गाइडलाइंसेस आना चाहिए. कुछ भी नहीं है. अभी सिर्फ इलेक्शन के लिए, तमिलनाडु चुनाव के लिए लोगों को, देश को गुमराह करने के लिए डीएमके सरकार, कांग्रेस पार्टी मिलकर प्रयास कर रहे हैं.
Now let's understand what's at the backdrop of this entire controversy. It's the NEP, or the new education policy. It proposes a 3-language formula for schools, which includes the mother tongue, one of the languages listed in the 8th schedule of the Constitution, which includes Hindi and English. Now, this policy has been met with resistance in Tamil Nadu due to concerns that it could lead to Hindi being imposed on students here. But what was a very important debate over the imposition of Hindi in schools has now become somewhat farcical, with over the rupee symbol being reportedly removed from the budget promotional materials, to then comparisons being made about dubbing of Tamil films in Hindi and the money that is getting. So let's try and get some sense back into this discourse. Let me go across to my guests who will be joining me at this point. We'll be joined by Bolisetti Satyanarayanan, who is the General Secretary of the Jan Sena, which of course Pawan Kalyan's party. But right now I'm also being joined by A Saravanan, who's a spokesperson of the DMK, and Madhavan Narayanan, who's also a very senior journalist at this point. Let me begin with you, Mr. Saravanan. I understand the DMK's counter to Pawan Kalyan's statement, saying that you're not against Hindi, but you're against the imposition of Hindi. But the point which Mr. Pawan Kalyan made, and the phenomenon which is indicated, and we have a list of some of very popular Tamil films which have made a lot of big business after being dubbed in Hindi. They all work well because of 2 reasons. Because of the demands of economy and because it's in better reach. That is why Tamil films get dubbed in Hindi, because they'll get you more money and they'll reach out to a wider audience. These are market forces which cannot be denied, reach and money. By that same logic, why should the government be against the entry of Hindi? Because that will only open up Tamils to being connected to a larger audience, increase their networking opportunities, and also correspondingly increase their earning potential as well.
See, you are presuming that the Tamil Nadu film industry is sick. You are presuming that we need support. We need more audience. See, it's a market, sink or swim. Your product is good, it will get dubbed anywhere. If the movie songs are good, it will get dubbed anywhere. Language is not a barrier at all, especially in the world of artificial intelligence, where everything, we have subtitles going on, we have simultaneous translations going on. So I think this argument is very specious. And for the sake of movies doing well and producers earning money, you want 8 crore people to study Hindi? What kind of a farce is this? And Mr. Pawan Kalyan, the new poster boy of the Hindutva bandwagon, just few years back, said, the union government, please, allay our concerns, take notice of this plurality of our country. The tweet is still alive. He has not deleted the tweet yet. So now he has become the deputy chief minister. So should we presume that he has become wiser now? Or he is supporting Hindutva? So we should be presumed that he has become wiser now? Well, what about his statement made in 2017, which is still there? Is he going to go by with that statement or not? See, we have made it very clear. All the Bollywood movies are doing well. If you go to anything, Bollywood songs are listened by everybody. We love Amir Khan, we love Salman Khan, we love Shah Rukh Khan. The Hindi Prachar Sabhas are doing very well here. Nobody is stopping anybody from learning Hindi. See, they miss the point when they don't understand that it is not incumbent. We don't want the students to have the burden of a third language. The burden of a third language is a burden for anybody, for across the country. Imagine what is happening in the other states. There was a recent article in the Hindu which says 90% of the people in the Hindi-speaking population, Hindi-speaking areas, do not speak or do not know any other language except Hindi. They know only one language. So the North Indian students, they will study only one language. But people in South India, especially the state of Tamil Nadu, which have rejected the second language formula, three language formula, we should study 3 languages. What kind of a joke is this? What kind of a joke is the union government trying to perpetuate on us? And I want to again quote Perarinjar Anna, our great leader here. And he said famously, this is not a language issue. This is an issue of dominance. They want to dominate us. They want to see how far they can go and how low we can stoop. We will stand upright. We are not going to be pushed back by this dominance. We will fight this dominance because the will of the people of Tamil Nadu is for 2 languages. In 1968, we passed a resolution that there will be only 2 languages. And we will not have 3 languages. From 1968 up to 2025, we have great success. The students from the state of Tamil Nadu are conquering the world. So many CEOs are there. A lot of them are there. And people here are migrating not to North India. They are migrating to the US, the UK, Europe, Australia, and so many other places. The migration is happening in reverse. People from North India are seeking jobs. If Mr. Pawan Kalyan has understood all these things, he would have said, oh, the union government, hey, the union government, set up language places to teach these migrant laborers the language, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu or Kerala, so that they will not have any
Mr.
problem
Saravanan.
when they come here and seek jobs. Instead of that, he is playing, I don't know what is this understanding with the BJP and the RSS. He is just parroting the view of the RSS and the BJP. So, we put a full stop here.
Mr.
We
Saravanan,
will not lose our
I
identity.
am not going to speak up on behalf of the... Mr. Saravanan, with all due respect, and again, I'm not saying that you're doing this, but please don't assume that I am someone from North India who looks down South. I have spent 4 years in Chennai. I've learned the language of Tamil enough to converse with you if necessary. And people around me will know that Chennai is genuinely one of my favorite cities. My problem with what you just said is that you are assuming that language is something that can be protected and preserved. Languages are free flowing. You just pointed it out. The reason why Amir Khan or Shah Rukh Khan are so popular in Chennai, or Ilya Talapati, Vijay or Dhanush are so popular in the north, is because that culture, language do not follow boundaries. And a day like this, when films are so all around, entertainment is all in front of us, when AI is there, you can't stop a language from progressing. And in saying that the imposition or the entry of Hindi into this impacts Tamil culture, I think only makes Tamil culture look weak. And that is my simple argument at this point. We'll try and get an update on where Mr. Mboli said.
No. I'll answer
Please
you.
go ahead and then I'll get in
Madhav
as well.
In 10 seconds. No. I'll answer your observation in 10 seconds. You are right. That's what. I started with the caveat that we are not against any language. The best way, if the union government thinks, oh, we have to promote Hindi across the board, the best way is through soft power, through Bollywood, through other things, not by shoving it down our throats. If you shove it down our throats, we will vomit it out.
Okay.
We will ensure that you do not come near us. You cannot dominate our wills. We will not allow you to dominate our wills.
Okay. Madhav, at this point, Madhav and Narayanan, you're joining us at this point. You've had very strong views on this issue as well on Mera Now. My simple question is this. I agree with what Mr. Saravanan is saying, that language should be built as form of a soft power. One of the reasons why Koreans are so popular these days is because they've mastered the act of a soft power in terms of Korean drama, Korean cinemas, K-pop, and so and so. But is the response to the Tamil Nadu government so far to what they perceive as hard selling of Hindi or imposition of Hindi not equally facile at this point? If you're looking at perhaps the rupee symbol being removed from the English versions of the budget, despite the fact that the rupee symbol has very strong DMC legacies in terms of DMC heritage, in terms of connections at this point, are we risking moving away from what is a very important debate about what the future of Tamil Nadu's children should be? Should they be asked to learn a third language? Should they be brought at par with the rest of the country, which only has to learn two languages? Instead of focusing that, is this debate not becoming a bit too ridiculous at this point? This language law, or is it not becoming ludicrous?
I think you were using far too many adjectives, Ritangshu. I think this is a complex issue. We shouldn't be getting into sweeping statements, like using words like ludicrous, because you are talking about, is Tamil too weak? If that is the case, then those who opposed Macaulay's English policy could be said, is Hindi too weak? The simple fact is that politics and money play a major role in the spread and the use of languages. People learned Hindi in the 1950s because government jobs in Delhi could be had for easier if you learn Hindi and move to the north where you can live and speak the local language. Then today people are learning Python and JavaScript. They are also languages, because in economics there is something called the opportunity cost. You are not investing money alone. You're investing time and attention. So from an individual's point of view, where you devote your attention is a matter of choice. We are also discussing here state policy. One of the problems with this whole debate, to me, what appears ludicrous is the way news anchors and party spokespersons are randomly conflating issues. For instance, I don't think Saravanan should have been called today at all to this show. I'm saying this to prove a point. Because if you're discussing a business issue on a dubbing of a cinema, you should call somebody from Sun Pictures. And let me point out that Kalaignar TV is a channel which is pro-DMK. So is Sun TV. But they are owned by two different families because they believe they have their separate identities within the Dravida movement. Similarly, Sunrisers Hyderabad is a Hyderabad-based cricket IPL team that is owned by the Maran brothers. So you have to separate the business entity from the party from individuals of the party, and state policy. Now, Saravanan spoke rightly, except that he will be misunderstood, because today we have this casual drawing room approach to understanding things instead of properly clarifying business, ideology, and party as separate entities. Saravanan was very right that you have the right to, as individuals, to do whatever you want. You have a right to pursue business. Let me give you an example. I read Dinakaran, which is a Tamil daily controlled by the Maran brothers, who also, by the way, used to, at some point, the Kalanidhi Maran used to control SpiceJet. You cannot call it Tamil Nadu's airline or a DMK airline. So business entities have a separate life of their own. So unless there are very clear state policy-based interventions, such as grant of licenses or loans, they have separate lives. Coming to language power, we all know, I often say money is the most powerful language in the world. Let us take English. Ram Manohar Lohia and Mulayam Singh Yadav used to oppose English, and today Akhilesh Yadav wants UP kids to learn English because English is no longer a colonial language. It is an international business language.
Which is entirely my point, Madhavan. Madhavan, that is entirely my point. I have been, as someone who has had a very cosmopolitan upbringing across the country, north, south, east, west, whatever you call, I find this entire discourse, this entire parochialism over language, and by no means am I implying that Mr. Saravanan or the DMK, the only people doing it, people in the north are as guilty. I find this, which is why I use the word facile. Languages are ultimately something which cannot be used as custodians of culture and can be preserved. Languages are evolved. They're like, they follow the law of the jungle. They evolve. Some of them go extinct because people don't use it. Some of them thrive because people realize that they want languages at this point. At the end of the day, I feel, for instance, schools in North should be taught Kannada instead of foreign languages because you are more likely to be posted in Bangalore than you are likely to be posted in Barcelona, for instance. So the idea is that you are coming up that politicians may have, or you and me may have the right interest in terms of talking about important matters as to whether this is a policy that is fundamentally flawed as being thrust down. But the narrative which is being spun by politics is that A, language is bad, or B, language is bad. And that is what my entire point is, Madhavan. You cannot demonize a certain language and use it as a threat. Languages follow the law of the jungle. Whoever follows them, finds the benefit of it, will follow it.
In fact, I must congratulate people like Saravanan. And I was listening to the other DMK spokesperson, Salem Dharnidharan, yesterday. We are not even listening to them properly. I'm sorry, I'm not here to defend Saravanan, who's smart enough to defend himself. But the nuances of their words are being completely lost. You use the word parochial. That, I believe, is an irresponsible usage. Because you have to understand that defending a language through state policy is, I have said this before, power law. For instance, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is the new name for Indian Penal Code. Why should a law be named in Hindi and not English? Indian Penal Code is fine because somebody is actually, we should not be naive enough to take things at face value. Somebody is doing policy with politics. Somebody will do politics with policy. So the French word for policy and politics are the same, politique. In discussing Tamil and Sanskrit and Hindi, let me also use French. There are nuances to language, nuances to position, nuances to institutional positions. So what we are doing is to simply have a drawing room view of things to discuss some of the issues of state policy. That doesn't work. So this is like saying, Pakistanis are nice, so let's not check their passports. No, the fact is that there are tensions between India and Pakistan. So if you're a Pakistani entering India, the immigration issues are likely to more check this. So in fact, I explained the detail in your show day before with Shreya Dhondial, that there is a history of the RSS and BJP speaking for one language in one country. And therefore, there is a trust deficit between DMK and BJP. That has to be properly understood in the context. So this is not our middle class, genteel, drawing room views. In fact, if you were to really argue, I would say that Tamilians should be learning Japanese and Korean because there are some very fascinating similarities between Korean and Tamil. You began your discussion by mentioning Korea and Korean. Hyundai has a plant in Tamil Nadu. The average Tamilian may probably gain more by learning Korean. So today, if you're looking at economic opportunities in Tamil Nadu's current state of literacy and 14% state GDP growth, you would say Korean is more useful than Hindi. But three-language policy is, according to DMK's ideological position, is a creeping imposition of cultural values using political power And
Okay.
the use of political power in language is well known. Today, many Indian kids use American English instead of British English because cultural power of Hollywood cinema tends to go into this. So culture and business have a natural river-like flow, but politics has some issues such as I use the term ideological borders. There are ideological borders. So some of the choices are individual, but some of the state policies have incentives, disincentives, restrictions. So this is where even fundamental rights under the Constitution have some restrictions, reasonable restrictions. So this is DMK's ideological
Okay.
policy. Now, I'm going to say, if you're looking at business entities, we should look at them as business entities. If you're looking at autonomous schools, let them look at our autonomous schools. If you're looking at state policy, you can argue that army entry or paramilitary jobs will be easier for Tamilians if they learn Hindi. That's a logical argument. But state policy is a matter of ideological history, and we shouldn't be naive enough to take anybody at face value. That's what journalists are supposed
I
to do.
do get your point.
BJP has its own
I do get
ideological
your
baggage. So
I
does
do get your point.
DMK.
I do get your point, but again, where does political imposition end and real world business, as you pointed out, the connection between business and economy and language go on? That's a debate that continues. But we get your point. Unfortunately, we could not be joined by the representative of Pawan Kalyan's party. So, fortunately, thank you so much for joining me at this point, Rumba Nandri, Mr. Saravanan, and Madhavan Narayanan for joining us with your views. And it's time for a short commercial. More news and updates continue on the other side.